take pride in satisfying every customer's financial needs.
Ngaro na lawa to kuma ta baki asira linga da fo ko nyi founding kila
hey elafta maboro la bang kalpo efa igiso eseo na yuna jang ibadin ke yato kati yuna wallet ibe falindiro ke kan sandiri nyat
ni la yuna wallet to si muna fanno tulo yabo mano kandrin ni fenja ma jama isi sanno la yona wallet to kono yalla kamo soto ila wallet to kono
alkana la konda no tay ka yuna wallet anatan tolle rukan na balwo fanondi abe sono yaren ko bulu podo ne la mobile scan yo science ise maboro ke wato men diate
ko be sandro ke fongole ba ko ba ke kan dimbalem isi ñu lonko e sandro se yona enterprise wato wati ani la yona wallet to la ibe lan kamo soto kay la wallet to kono
alina nga kafun nanyi yuna dimbayal tan kasandiro ke yuna biti poto alinga kata nyin ko kentat na sura ton lolu si sandiro kije se maboro fanan keje
moro jundiana nyum ko di mabal din kadeda
And welcome to another edition of our show. It's another Thursday and we're back in the studio, of course, to talk about current issues and other issues that are happening across the country. And with me today I have Mustapha K. Mustapha, welcome back. Bida.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the show.
Happy to be here.
Okay, I had to come in pink because, you know, October is Cancer Awareness Month. And you know, pink is the color. You are sitting on the couch that is pink, so that is fine.
Yeah. I didn't even know it.
So I had to, you don't know, you didn't know. So I had to pull in pink. Is obviously this first part of the show. I'll be talking to you about what is happening, but later on I will have Dr. Kebba S. Bojang and the team from the National Cancer Management Program to talk about cancer, general issues, awareness issues about this disease. It's a deadly disease that so many people, including Gambians, are battling with, and it's always important to have conversations around these issues. We don't always have to talk about politics. Sometimes we have to do awareness programs. So we'll be having Dr. and his team to talk about that. But I want us to start with what is trending. So the other time, I think it was with Madi and others, we talked about the president suing journalists, Voice newspaper. The president's lawyers threatened to sue them. They asked them to retract their story and apologize. If not, they will be sued. It took a couple of weeks, more than 2 weeks, but eventually, yesterday, Sheriff received the lawsuit, and they're supposed to go back to court on the 25th. Also, the Minister of, this also is different from this criminal case that the police are pursuing,
bringing
against Sheriff and Justice Darboe. But also, the Alcamba Times, Kebba is also sued for 50 million by the Minister of. You and I know about something like this. I think we went through this. We were sued by the state minister. This was a difficult time. This was just the beginning of the new government. We went through it, and that's why I had told Sheriff that, look, if you believe in what you say, you should stand by your story. We did that. It was tough. This was the beginning of the government. At that time, everybody was in government. It was tough. We said, look, we did this story, we believe it, and we stand by it. It was really tough. But I think this is the nature of our job. We are going to say stuff that are not going to be favorable to some people, and they felt offended and all this stuff. But when you look at these things that are happening, we have seen all civil society groups condemning Article 19, Mahdi Jobate's new group, EFT Center for Rights and Justice, members of the bar itself have not issued a statement, but members of the bar, Salou Tal and others, I have seen them.
Committee to Protect Journalists.
Committee to Protect Journalists, the Newspapers Association, Gambia Press Union, every major civil rights
organization,
have
particularly freedom of expression
organizations.
IFJ.
Yeah, all of them have
International
condemned
Federation
this.
of Journalists.
And we thought, because of all of this, maybe the president was not going to go ahead with the suit. But, I mean, I was going to call J. Darboe. He came on the show and said, if we cannot sue the president, how can he... Because if the president sues you and you go to court and then you cannot counter-sue him. That is not equality in justice. So he's of the belief that the president cannot sue anybody. And, well, we have seen the suit, and it seems like the case has been assigned. Now, generally, when you see stuff like that, you do a lot of investigations. This really touches on your area. When you see stuff like this, first, what is your impression?
I think there are two things involved. One is because this is not beneficial to the president himself. Mm-hmm. It's not in his interest. He's just angry. Mm-hmm. I think he's emotional. Yeah. About what Voice has done, and he's allowed his emotions to take the best of him. Okay. But this is not in his interest. He is not out of cash. He's not cash strapped, so he doesn't need Voice money to... Yeah. And two is that this is going to cost him a lot in his reputation, in his international standing. In the Gambia's own international press freedom ratings. And, people look at international press freedom indexes and ratings and say, no, it's just ratings. No, it's not just ratings. When people want to, major investors, not these scammers who come around with politicians. Yeah. When major investors want to come into a country, they do due diligence. Mm-hmm. Quite a number of times, people they approach for due diligence are people who take all these rankings, whether you're doing the business indexes, your rankings in terms of justice delivery in your country, broader freedoms in your country, press freedoms in your country, because people want to know if they would have access to justice if I come into this country. Yeah. And I invest in this country. These things are important. And secondly, also your international obligations. I mean, you've signed a number of you've signed up to a number of international organizations. You're part of ECOWAS, you're part of UN, you're part of AU. All these are international institutions that respect freedom of expression. And it affects your standing. You know, I mean, it's ridiculous for police to arrest somebody because he said the president would likely give away to another person. I mean, it's ridiculous, really. Because it hurts no one at all. I mean, I read the argument that they are saying, no, but this could bring the president's reputation down under the eyes of the normal members of the society. I mean, I'm like, what? It's normal for political successions to be in the news anywhere in the world. And this is a standard anywhere. And it's interesting also that in the Voice story, they reached out to both sides.
To both sides.
And, you know, in fact, it's refuted in the same story.
Yeah.
So there is actually no reason at all for this kind of lawsuit. It's not in the interest of the president or the country for either the president to sue or the police to pursue criminal dimension to the case. So it's unfortunate, really. And I don't think the Voice has done anything wrong.
For me, the fact of the matter is two members of the government, the president himself and the Minister of Environment, at the same time, says a lot about what this government...
I think what they could do, I think what they should have done in a normal system, because one of the things that a functioning government, a government that is democratic, encourages investigative journalism, not discourages it. And part of the major things that now discourages investigation, in fact, currently there are fundings, you know, in advanced world, particularly by organizations like Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, that helps journalists to take care of their legal costs and even their livelihoods, who are under legal, who are confronted with lawsuits.
Yeah.
It's now a trend in most of the developed world by rich people. If you publish a story about them, even if the story is true, they take you to court. And they make sure you are there because they know one thing. For them, these are millionaires, billionaires, millionaires. Legal cost is nothing to them. They don't even have to go to court. But they can make sure you go there every day.
And then you are going back and forth in the court.
So it's a way of discouraging journalists also.
And you know, that brings me to your area. You specialize in investigative stories. You and I know Sheriff will not divulge his source in any court. Now take him to mile 2, he will not tell you this is the person who told me this. You will not do that. No journalist will do that. Now, if you write, as an investigative journalist, you write a story, you have your evidence, you have all the detail, you know this source is so credible. Like, you can swear your life on his credibility, and you write a story. And then, if this is the way we're going, it looks like there will be a lot of lawsuits because government officials can just come up because they know we will not divulge our sources. They can come up and say, oh, the story that you wrote about me is a lie.
And they didn't have to go to court.
And then they will have to go to court. Now, how does this affect, you know, our role as media practitioners, but particularly you as...
It affects a lot of, it affects in a lot of ways. First is that lawsuits are themselves come with a lot of baggage. So for example, your family will be in a huge emotional distress. That's one. Secondly, it puts a lot of huge financial burden that some of the journalists and a lot of the journalists cannot accommodate. It also puts them under a lot of emotional stress because the family is asking a lot of questions. The family is under huge emotional stress, and journalists are also put under huge emotional stress. So it provides enough disincentive to become an investigative journalist or to become a journalist at all. And so you would rather do what every other person
is doing.
Is doing.
And then the society loses at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, but that's also to the interest of the politicians. So like they say in the OSCCRP, in fact, some organizations there are organizations that have a policy that if a journalist dies doing this story, that story must be completed. We must come together and find out what he was doing and complete it. Because that is the reason why they kill him. So we must make sure that story
is completed.
So they fight, we fight back.
We fight back. I mean, I said this, I think it's about time we all get retainers. We have to get lawyers. We have to be prepared because at the end of the day, I said this last time.
Not just get prepared because, I mean, I don't fight in the court, you know.
Yeah, you
I'm not a lawyer.
You fight
so
in the
I fight in the public court. I don't fight in the
justice
justice court. So what I do is I gather evidence and I publish it. And so if politicians are accustomed to doing what they're doing right now, I think what you expect in journalism is a strong show of camaraderie, a strong show of support from all sides.
Yeah.
And where publications are seen to be problematic, we coordinate it and publish it all.
Yeah.
The same content. And see if they can sue all of us.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
They can't do it.
Yeah, if we all write this on, we all say this.
Exactly.
And then let's
there are places where this kind of show of support exists, so that they cannot intimidate journalists into submission. Yeah, because press freedom is critical because, for example, and it's not just about press freedom, it's also about general broader freedom.
Yeah.
Because if they come after journalists, certainly they will come after sources.
Yeah.
And
then they will come after political actors, and they will come after human rights actors as well.
Yeah.
So it's a broad...
because in this whole chain of information chain, the most, probably the most, what you should consider inconvenient target should be the journalist, because once you go after journalists, everyone talks about it.
Yeah.
UN Human Rights Commission there, Human Rights Commission here, GPU there, CPJ, IFJ, Africa Federation of Journalists, everyone is talking about it. In a minute, it's all over the place, including on the BBC, all the cable networks.
Yeah.
It's inconvenient to do it.
Yeah.
So once they are able to do that, they can go after an academic, like they did with Said Mati and others under Jame,
Yeah.
They can go after, just people also expressing their views on the streets.
Yeah.
Because it's more inconvenient to deal with a journalist
than that. The case first, the police got involved because the president first sent a letter to the Voice newspaper threatening to sue if they don't withdraw. But the police took it up on themselves and handled this as a criminal case. A lot of us said they have no business with this because they said it caused some alarm. I don't know what alarm it caused.
They have no business with that. Look,
But the point I wanted to come here is, when this happened, there were a lot of accusations because when the GPU president and others were at the police station, they met with the deputy speaker, Sidin Jai, who, the following day, we had a story that he was the one who reported the case there. He came on the branch and denied all of that.
Reported the case to police?
To police, but he denied that. He said he was there on a different issue. But we saw he was the one who signed the affidavit for this case that is in the courts. And it's like, it's just giving us an idea, really, what we thought, that it was Sidi who took this case to the police. Because now his fingerprint is all over this case. He's the one signing the affidavit. That says a lot. If that is true, if that's what happened, political actors giving directives, or seemingly giving directives to the police, Mustapha, that is dangerous, especially against...
But that's being the hallmark of our governance, and part of the reasons why also the new constitution did not pass, because the new constitution was asking for a much broader freedom, much broader latitude
for the police.
The police IGP, in terms of the hiring process, wants a lot more independence for the police force. And you could see it was very controversial point.
It was.
Under the Constitution. So, and I used to say that unless you have political reform, there will be no security sector reform. Security sector reform, it's a project proposal idea. It's the government's own idea to utilize as a cash cow to raise funds and put it into something. It's ridiculous. I mean, the only thing you need to have is political reform. If the president stays in his line, the ministers stay in their line, everybody stays in their line, police will stay in their line. The police don't stay in their line because they are having directives. They are having incentives to act otherwise. You know, unless you have political, like we talk about the military did this, military did that, even under Jammeh. The military didn't do anything that the civilian authority never asked them to do.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Yeah.
It's either they ask them to do directly or indirectly. Now, indirectly, how do you do that? You have to create an incentive for somebody to do a particular set of actions. You know? If you reward bad behavior, you will have a lot of bad people on the street.
In the streets.
Exactly. So if you reward bad conduct in the police, you will have a lot of top officers who will take it upon themselves, and do things that are not necessarily right, but they are politically rewarding. And I think this one is. I mean, quite frankly, I mean, under the so-called law that the police charged this voice gentleman, it's clear that once you are not suitable to be charged under that law, once you have given a right of reply to any party. So there is no basis for criminal offense under that law.
Yeah.
Because the voice has given them a
right to reply.
Exactly. Yeah. And so if you look at it also in terms of the value of the information that is shared in the story, you realize that this story causes no harm. It is just saying that the president has thought about this and he almost makes a decision. And one of the things that I regretted most is that also the whole thing played into what I think was an internal issue within NPP.
Within NPP.
And some of us who are very keen followers of politics know that. So there are internal issues, not just in NPP, but also within the broader coalition. And so these are complex issues. I mean, you don't want to bring conspiracy theory to Kerr Fatou. So let's focus on the subject. But I think this is why there is an unreasonable reaction.
And, you know, for me, I said, it seems like whenever we talk about third term and succession plan is always an issue. And I mean, just not President Barrow, we have seen that across Africa. Why is this a problem when African leaders don't even want us to talk about their succession plan? If you are a leader of our country, we're going to have interest in whatever you do. We want to even know what you eat. Why do we always talk about President Barrow and Kong and all the stuff? Why do we talk about Darboe and Mahal and all? It's because they are leaders. We want to know what they want. We want our leaders to be healthy.
And that's the whole point.
That's the whole point. And we want to know if President Barrow is not in office.
Once you are president, there are certain... Once you are president, there are certain things you have... there are certain things about your
life.
I mean, you just don't have privacy.
You don't have privacy.
No, that's what it is. Once you are a president, you just don't have privacy.
Yeah. So excuse my tickle.
I mean, everything about your life is public interest.
So at the end of the day now, we have to get prepared, all of us. I hope you have a lawyer.
No, not me.
Well, who better than you? You are the one who breaks all these stories.
Even Barrow is my fan.
Barrow is your fan?
Well,
you think so?
Well, if he is not, I mean, there is nothing he can do. But, you know, I mean, I think he should reconsider this. It's not in his interest.
It's not. In fact, the name of the president's name in this whole thing.
It's not in his interest. And if you look at, if he should sit down and quantify how much can he get out of this, even if he wins the case. And internationally, he should also take an honest person to look at what this would cost him, by his reputation, everything, and also our press freedom indexes and all that stuff. I mean, when the press freedom indexes come out, the government issues a press release
and celebrate it.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, you cannot be. It's counterproductive. That is why, I mean, I was suggesting to the GPU that they should go and sit down with them.
I mean,
I didn't know what they...
Why? So this is my issue with you and some members of the GPU. Because I heard this, that some people say, oh, we should go and sit with the president.
I suggested
No, for me, I believe if anybody does that, it's going to look like you're going to beg the president.
No.
And for me, let me finish. I feel like if anybody goes to discuss with the president regarding this case, you're making it look like you're begging the president to drop this case. And I feel like then we're admitting that the Voice newspaper story is wrong, number one. I was even against all these meetings that are going on. There are meetings going on. You know, some people went to Sheriff, telling Sheriff to apologize, you know, apologize to the point of even having a meeting with the minister.
No,
if 2 days ago,
I think there are two,
things
I
for
think
what?
there are two parties here.
Why?
No, I think there are two.
I told Sheriff, don't do that. Don't do that.
I think there are two parties
I will not
here.
go to any of those meetings.
Exactly.
I will not.
Because you, one, are a journalist, and two, you are a publishing house, right?
Yeah.
The people who are supposed to meet the president are politicians like the president.
GPU?
Yes. GPU is a political institution. It's
yeah.
not a press freedom. It's not a publishing house. Voice should not go to meet the president.
Yeah.
Voice have no business talking to the president.
Oh, okay.
They did their job. They just do their job at the Voice newspaper. It ends.
But mark my words.
The GPU,
okay.
It's a political entity established to protect journalists and journalism organizations and press freedom and all whatnot, right? Those ones have all the latitude to go see the minister, go see the president, have coffee with him if they want, have tea with him if they want, anything. And those people, that's what they do. That's what their job is.
You and I, you remember with that OJ
no,
case?
No, for us,
OJ case, everybody from Art and Beyond called us to apologize.
Yeah,
what did we say? We are not. We stood by our story.
Because we are journalists.
But Mustapha,
the GPU has a different mandate. Now, for us, I mean, we are journalists. We are directly relating. Our work is direct on the content and everything that comes out of that. But the GPU, it's like, you know, it's the entity in charge of us, you know. So they are a political institution. I'll
recommend they meet the president at a later date, but not when this is happening. Because, you know, when a police case is triggered, when a court case is on, all of these people, whatever you say will be used against you in the court of law.
No, but not what the GPU says. Not what the GPU says. Well, what the Voice says can be used against them, but GPU cannot be. Because GPU is an entity away from Voice. And the interesting thing also is, Fatou, once you are where Barrow has got to, sometimes you have difficulty going back on your own words. And you need sometimes, presidents do mess up sometimes.
Yeah.
And they need excuses.
And I feel like this case, this is how they felt and they want a way out of it.
But you give them that way out.
The minister, imagine a minister calling people to his office and talking to them and telling them for these people to apologize. For what?
No, okay, now.
Why would that?
Okay, now. The Voice newspaper doesn't have to apologize. But once the president goes and recognizes this is a mistake, and he wants an excuse...
He should just withdraw and forget about it.
No. He wants an excuse to withdraw.
Mustapha, you are...
No, but GPU is a political institution. You cannot do that. I cannot do that. Voice cannot do that. Okay. Journalists cannot do that. GPU can't do that.
Wow.
They wouldn't have to apologize.
They are not doing on my name.
No, yes.
I'm part of the GPU.
The name of journalists.
I am part of GPU.
No, but GPU can meet the president and show it to him that this is not in his interest.
But what about
that's
if,
acceptable
what about, so my thing with these meeting politicians, that's why I tell this, and people wouldn't believe me when I say I don't deal with politicians out of this so far.
Because you are a journalist.
Because, yeah, the thing with politicians, the only politician that I speak to in Gambia, MC Cham, like I speak to him every other day. But when you speak to politicians here, right, most of them, right, it's how they only want you to do what you want. For example, if GPU goes to the president and have a meeting, before GPU are even out, the Office of the President released a statement,
Yes,
right?
that they meet the president.
They have a bigger platform.
Yes.
Sometimes the statements, you know how they
But
come
don't
out.
forget also that the people who go to meet the president are elected politicians like the president.
Okay.
The GPU president is elected. He's a politician.
All right.
He goes campaign like the president, gets elected like the president, to serve a particular constituency like the president. So if it's in his interest of his constituency to go and meet the president and say, look, I think you have done this X, Y, and Z. I think this is not in your interest. Of course, like any politicians, you have your red lines. The same thing, GPU also has its own red lines. And they will not cross those red lines.
Okay.
But they can meet the president. There's nothing wrong with that.
I disagree.
We've met Jame before. I mean, Samsara and others went and met Jame before. You know?
I know that, yeah. Even
of course, it didn't come out very nice,
way,
but,
yeah.
but
I mean, even Newspaper Journalists Association, chairman others, they went to the president. I think that was cool. That was okay.
For
me, it is the condition, like the situation we are in now. If you have to go and talk to him about this particular situation, I'm looking at it as if trying to beg him. That's what I think.
For independent, it's not begging. For independent journalists, we've made it clear. This is what our job is.
Yeah.
Now, journalism has different layers and different levels. Even investigative journalism have different levels of proof.
Yeah, yeah.
Different journalists have different layers and different standards of proof. Different media organizations have different standards of proof. Daily news reporting allows you to collect opinion and relay it.
Yeah.
Daily news reporting allows that.
Yeah.
And now, daily news reporting, in fact, in some places, allows people to publish and now publish a right of reply as a reaction.
As a reaction, yeah.
It allows that. Now, the president may not know that. Remember, Barrow barely had any idea of how media works before he became president.
Yeah.
And so he, in his mind, and people around him, so you want to give him an opportunity, maybe sit over coffee.
To understand how
like politicians, like GPU, sit over coffee and say, look, let's have a chat. And you have a broader understanding of the media. He can ask them questions.
Yeah.
And maybe he has his own idea of what press freedom is, and maybe that's not.
Okay.
I mean,
well, let's see how that goes. I hope.
Well, I don't know, but I hope they reach out. I suggested it on the page, but I didn't know what they think.
And I think they're also kind of working on that. I'm not sure. I think I had something like that. But I was not interested. But again, you are right. These are all politicians.
They're all politicians.
So if they wish to do that, that's fine. We just want to show our solidarity to the
Absolutely.
voice
And I
news.
think that's what all journalists should do.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, there are certain international organizations. They make sure once a journalist is skilled for any story.
Yeah. That story is completed.
That story is completed.
Yeah.
Because it's defiance.
It's defiance. Okay.
That's what it is.
And we want to tell lawyers to understand that there are going to be a lot of cases like this, so they have to know that we are poor.
I hope not.
We are poor. We don't have money, so they can.
I hope not.
They'll just give us free services in case things like this come.
No. I mean, I've not seen any journalist who struggle for legal.
It's just worrying. It's just worrying if this is going to be the trend. It's a little concerning, but yeah. It
was tougher under Jame, but GPU was able to stand its ground and.
Yeah.
I mean, the truth is that, Fatou, and I'm sure Barrow will come to realize this little later, there are things that are a waste of not just your time, but they are also against your interest. And top on that list, it's a war with the media.
War with the media. And we trust the judiciary. Now, let's look at, excuse my tiko, because Mustapha
no, it's fine.
India, I'm the phone tiko Jolanta, so I'm just going to keep it like this.
Yeah.
Now, let's look at what is also trending. The police issued a statement 2 days ago telling us that they're investigating the IEC, the Independent Electoral Commission. And when that happened, but they didn't give us any reason why they were investigating them. So we got hold of the audit report, the reason I think why the police are investigating them, and we shared it together and we want to look at it. I think the major, first, the Independent Electoral Commission, it is alleged in that audit report that between 2020 to 2023, they were given over $300 million for election-related expenses. Now, this $300 million was given to regional election officers, and it was put in their private bank accounts to expense for their different regions during this period. Now, during the auditing, the National Audit Office realized that this is against the normal practice, number one. They found out that there were monies that were not retired, on expense money that were not retired. They also had issues with some of the receipts. That's why they wanted access to the bank accounts of these regional officers to be able to, verify the numbers and just counter-check these numbers. First, 301 million.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, taxpayers' money. I worked at GAMTEL, Ministry of Information, GAMTEL. I don't understand how any public office can give over $300 million to 7 people to say, use this in your own private accounts, expense it, and then come and retire.
I think the IEC, this is something they usually do. It's been subject of many audits before. That they put monies in private accounts of their regional offices. I think it's largely because they are based at different places.
Yeah.
And they don't want to, but this is a flawed logic, because even from one account, different financial activities, different people can have access to the same account.
Yeah.
Accounts are not limited to...
Yeah, we have banks who are in all these regions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they could have cash, one of those trucks that go around with money, like the ones that these paymasters under school systems use.
Yeah.
And with police escort to go around in case they need to move cash from one location to another. There is certainly no excuse, but it's something that IEC has been accustomed to.
Now, the audit, the audit, in fact, the IEC's reply, they mentioned that this is something they have been doing to make it easy for them to be able to do their job, like accessibility, just like you said. But the auditors are not buying that. They are saying that is not something that they will...
It's just not the standard. It's just not what happens.
Yeah.
You just don't put public money in a private account for people to use. They could have even created a centralized account that could be accessed at different banks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So during
the authorization will come from IEC headquarters to those individuals and at a particular bank to withdraw money.
Yeah.
And then they withdraw and put it to use.
And during this exercise, what was also alarming for the IEC was this: when they ask for the bank accounts of these regional officers to be given to them, so they their bank statements, so they can verify. The IEC wrote to say all of them agreed with the management to say they will not provide those bank statements.
Yeah. So that could mean
and
that...
IEC, the auditors said that there is the red flag for them.
It is a red flag. Because it could also mean that the unretired money could have been shared. It could have been utilized by individuals working in the organization. At least at this point, we don't know why.
The IEC, according to the IEC, during discussion with money, they said they revealed that revealed that part of the commission's procedure budgeted funds are transferred to private accounts of returning officers in various regions. These officers are tasked with using the funds for election-related expenses and are required to provide detailed expenditure reports after each election, right? Reconciliation between the estimates and total funds transfer in these private accounts and that of the returning officers and the actual from the retirement files of this period ranging from the cycle 2001 to 2023, 7,900,000 and something, meaning the returning officers could not show concrete evidence. These were monies that could not be accounted for, over 7 million. So bulk of it is coming from West Coast region, because obviously West Coast is the bigger region. Yeah. So the returning officer, Tony Seka, his region has over 5 million, almost 6 million that was not retired. There's no concrete receipts evidence for expenditure. KMC over 1 million, and one Mr. Tal, I think is one of the regions, 2 million. In total, almost $8 million is that they could not account for.
Yeah, I read through it. It's substantial, by most standards. But, there are many things to it. One is, what was the basis of the special audit? I am happy, and whoever it touches. But to have a picture, broader picture, like, because special audits are sanctioned, and they are triggered by something. Yeah. So it would be interesting to know what triggered the special audit, like why was it sanctioned? Sanctioned by who? And have a broader picture of who are the people affected by this. And what kind of change also is it likely to bring to IEC? Because remember, we have several special audits in the Gambia and they are carrying endorsed. But this one, the police, police is a political institution as well.
And I wanted to come there. Before I get there, I wanted to look at the numbers first. Because I wanted to come there, because when I received the documents, that's the first thing that I said. And how I even got the document and who sent it. It tells a lot. I would not divulge that, but that says a lot as to why maybe this audit has been sanctioned. But one thing, Mustapha, that, I think in as much as there might be motives or whatever the motives are, we cannot also lose sight of really what happened there.
The importance
of the things that happened, accountability. For example, 15 million, almost 16 million was used as allowances and expenses. Most of it is because one of them, they said December, because the election was coming around December, and that's the time that IEC does their staff party, right? So because they are not able to do the staff party, let's pay each staff 3 months' salary. And other expense, like 15 million was used for allowances and other expenses. There were instances about 1 million plus was given to people who were not identified as even IEC staff. And then there was areas also where at some point, I guess the auditors got hold of these bank statements. They found over 1 million plus in some of these accounts, and these officers refuse to return this money to the IEC office, because if you spend a certain amount and there's returns, you should return it. So all of these things, yes, there might be reasons why this is sanctioned, but exactly these things that are coming also are very damning.
No, they are very damning indeed. But the thing is, you go through the report, you know that there are really a lot of serious issues that are raised. But it also, if you are familiar with reading most of the audits of IEC, this is a normal practice. Many that is new. These are normal practice. Yeah, most of the issues that are raised are repetition. It's like if you read Gambia government's audit from 1960 or 19 something to now, you just see most of the things the same.
The same things.
Violations of procurement processes, how accounts are kept and how things are. At least under every government is mostly the same. Yeah.
Now it brings me to my question. Why now?
I mean, even if you look at Jane Commission, most of the things that were red flags that were raised, are like cash transactions in large volume. I mean, they were still happening on the barrel. So most of the things that are, here we quick at talking about other people's violations, not our own.
Our own. And this brings to me this question. The National Audit Office, there have been a lot of audit reports that are out. They have not uploaded, especially the new updates, on their page. I mean, there are a lot of damning audit reports out there that has to do with other government departments, even more than this, right? We don't have access to them. Ports, Gambia Ports Authority and other institutions.
EFSTH.
Yes, even the investigation that they just did at the EFSTH and all other agencies. Why do you think?
Airport.
Yes. Why do you think?
The new so-called VVIP thing.
The VVIP, it was audited. Now, all of these things, you cannot even see them. Number one, these are public documents. They're supposed to be on the National Audit Office website for us to have access. Even this one was supposed to be there. Why do you think the IEC one is out now, almost 2 years to elections? Why?
Well, I don't know. I definitely don't know. I mean, there are many things, and well, if I were a politician, I would be interested.
Yeah.
But because I'm not, I don't care.
But even if you are not a politician, are you not concerned? Because the Independent Electoral Commission is the body that determines our elections. And we all should be concerned who manages that. We should be concerned the people who are managing that office.
I mean, look, if
those people are being audited.
The thing is why, the thing is, what will accountability in this case change at the IEC? That's an important question to ask.
Yeah.
So, for example, who are the people indicted in this report, and who is likely to be held responsible? Certainly, the chief accounting officer at the IEC is the CEO.
Is the CEO. But all the regional offices, the regional officers,
they are all indicted.
They are all indicted in this, and that includes the deputy IEC chairman.
Yes.
Right? Now, what if that happens?
Those are likely to be removed.
This is all top management. All of them is top management. Basically,
it's not just top management, it's also the center.
The center of IEC.
The one that holds.
The one that holds IEC. If those people are indicted, I don't know what the outcome is, and they are removed, should you and I and every Gambian not be concerned about who comes in and how are they appointed?
Okay, I would rather not be concerned.
Okay.
Because it's a political process that the political parties need to be actively engaged.
Engage in.
Right? So that they know who comes in and who goes out. So the political parties should be all over this case.
Yep.
Why was this audit sanctioned?
Why?
Who sanctioned it?
And why now?
Why is everything happening? The police investigation, where is it leading?
Yeah.
Who is doing the police investigation? What's their interest? What are they looking at? The political parties should be concerned of this case much as the president. Because the police is a political institution. Most of the things they do comes with the authority of the president.
Yeah.
Whether spoken or unspoken, most of what they do comes with at least the endorsement.
The endorsement of the president.
So the political parties owe it to
So you are
indirectly
saying the president is interested in this investigation.
Not necessarily. I'm saying
he
that
knows.
Of course, the president has to know.
Has to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
The president has to know that the police are doing this. Definitely. Yeah, the president has to know. So but it's up to it's up to the political parties to be interested in it also. Whether it's NPP, UDP, PDYs, APRC, to be interested in everything that's happening at the IEC. They should be all over the audit report. They should be all over the government's action irrespective of the audit report,
Yes.
what government does and didn't do, and why it does what it does. Because that's what political parties' functions are.
Yeah.
So that if there is going to be change of leadership of the IEC, you are also active in the process. So that if somebody is selected who is not the right candidate, you are able to say, no, this is not going to happen. There is no reason for this, because that's what politics is. It's a process. So for me, I'm not interested in that. I'm not involved in that because,
Yes.
yeah, for me it's one man down.
Yeah.
You know, if one corrupt person is taking off the street, that's the end of the fight.
Yeah.
We go home and fight the next day. So if people at IEC are corrupt, they should be held to account.
They should be held account.
But how that accountability happens, who is involved, who is taken out of the picture, who is brought in by the process, that's a political process.
That is a political process.
And the politicians need to be
take the lead
focused
in
on
that.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Interesting. We will see how this goes. The investigation is starting. The police have started their investigations, and they promise to update the public.
Well, don't be so.
You know, when the police say we are investigating.
The police also sometimes.
How many investigations have?
Yes, police have done a lot of investigations, and nothing comes out of it.
But you think nothing will come out of this too?
I don't know. I don't want to preempt it, but police have done a lot of investigations, and and after that, nothing happens. Police, by the way, were doing an investigation into AKI.
Yes.
They did investigation into tons of things.
Yeah, and nothing happened after that.
They did investigation into GAM Petroleum.
Yeah.
The GAM Petroleum saga.
The saga,
the
yeah.
election.
Yeah. And it's all, yeah.
$20-something million.
Yes. So we should not be optimistic as to what
that case collapsed.
So you are saying we should not be optimistic as to what is going to come out of this also?
I don't know. Because accountability is not central in Gambia. You know, our people, the accountability, it's political process for our people. You know, if it favors you, you go for it. If it does not favor you, you don't go for it. If it favors party, you try to block it. Accountability doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. Well, I hope the police will look at other audit reports also, but I hope the National Audit Office will also make these documents accessible to the people, because they are working for the Gambian people, and they should make sure. They had a series of programs here and other platforms where they were talking about how they want people to know what they're doing and see what they're doing.
In fact, more recently, what Karamba used to do before he left was he created a media engagement.
Yes.
Where they share their products.
Products, yeah.
I hope that
well, we haven't seen
Mr.
that.
Cisse will continue. I think they did the last time.
They did the last time. They even came here on the shows.
Yeah.
I just hope they will update these reports on their websites, because they are very interesting reports that come out from that office. And one thing you can say, we have seen a lot of credible reporting.
And also for the National Assembly also to take
these audits very seriously.
Yes, because they have all the accountability institutions.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Mustapha. Thank you for looking at these issues. We will take a short commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to have members of the National Malaria Control Program so we can talk about, National Cancer Program, so we can talk about cancer. It's October and it's Cancer Awareness Month. Thank you very much, Mustapha.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll take a break.
services for deposit accounts, credit facilities,
Welcome
trade
back to our
finance.
show, and of course, like I said earlier, we're back in the studio, and with me I have members of the Cancer National Program, Cancer National Control Program. Dr. Kebba S. Bojang is the Program Manager, National Cancer Program. Kebba, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Of course, we also have Fatmata Jaite, she's the Senior Program Officer, and Dr. Usman Sanyang, Specialist Surgeon, Head of Department of Surgery at the EFTS. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Fatou, and thank you for having us.
Today, we are going to be talking about cancer and cancer-related issues. October is Cancer Awareness Month, and we know your office is the office mandated to talk about all these related issues. First, Dr. Bojang, let's know what is the mandate of your office, because I think it's important for us to look at your office. What is the mandate, what do you do, and how do you coordinate all these organizations? Because I have seen a lot of organizations who are doing cancer-related programs, so it's important to know what your office does.
Yeah, thank you very much. Like you said, our office is the National Cancer Control Program.
Yeah.
So we are tasked primarily with reducing the burden, that is the mobility and the mortality of cancer to the barest minimum in the country, and also to make sure that those who come down with cancer have good quality of life. So essentially what we are responsible for is to coordinate cancer activities in the country. Like we always say, anything that has to do with cancer in the country has everything to do with us. Like you have alluded to, the reason why we came, or before we came, we are founded on September 1st, 2022.
Yeah.
Before they've realized that there are uncoordinated activities when it comes to cancer care in the Gambia. So we are brought in to streamline that. So like you said, you've observed that recently there are a lot of activities about cancer, because we are in Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So this is very important. So all the activities that are happening, most of them we are not aware of. So maybe some of the groups actually don't know our existence. But it's very important. Like I say, cancer is not like football.
Yeah.
By that I mean people from Jambur can decide to organize a Nawetan without informing GFF. But cancer is a serious case. So there are protocols that are supposed to be followed. There are rules. So anybody, any group, not long ago we did a press release, like any group that has, whether it's via civil society, NGO, that have anything to do with cancer, or even if you are not an NGO, cancer NGO, civil society, but if you have another group and you do activities that have something to do with cancer, you need to liaise with us. We are supposed to be aware. So eventually what is going to happen is no activity about cancer should happen in this country without we've been aware of it.
But why that though? Is it because of the information that is disseminated, or what? Because I know a lot of organizations that do cancer awareness. I remember some years back, YAUS, used to do cancer awareness program, like a 3-day cancer program, and also Ajikumba and group, they had this group, they were in fact raising funds to buy a mammogram machine and all the stuff. These were big programs that a lot of dignitaries attended. People pledge money and all the stuff. And some people went through cancer themselves and they have become advocates for this disease. So they have a lot of foundations do these fundraisings and also awareness programs. Why is it important that they liaise with your office?
Yeah, so some of these activities were happening before we came into being. So when we came into being, so some of the groups that you mentioned, those that we are aware of, we actually invited them to our activities. So this year, I remember we invited her 3 times, but she never attended any of our activities. So this one, Cancer League, is one that organized
Cancer
that.
League,
Yes, we've invited them to our program. I think they attended our activity 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And then there is another one called C3G. It's a cancer NGO.
Yeah.
We're in communication with. We have collaborated with them several activities. We'll be doing what with them this month, 26 in Bansan. Then there is Solis, is another cancer group, and there is NASO. I don't know, NASO, I can't remember the meaning, but they also have activities that have to do with cancer. So those we are aware of, we actually reach out to them. So maybe when we did the press release, most of them actually don't know. But we want from this month now for people to know there is cancer control program in the Gambia at the Ministry of Health that are responsible for any cancer activity in the country. So it is good that the awareness some of them are doing. And you mentioned something here about some of them receive, I think, a lot of money. We are also interested in that. Because
raising funds.
Yes, not just raising funds. Raising funds is important. When they raise funds, it's supposed to be for cancer. What are they using those monies for? So that's why all these groups, at the end of the day, will have to register with us. Because we'll be very interested. Any money that is raised in the name of cancer, we will want to know how that money is utilized in the fight of cancer. So we don't want people or groups to organize activities, receive money in the name of cancer, and at the end of the day, we don't really know. The other thing that is very important, why we need to be aware of their activities is because we need to have records, data. So this is Breast Cancer Awareness Week. So it will be important, all the groups that are doing breast cancer screening, we are interested in the numbers. How many are screened for each occasion? So that's also very important.
But these groups are helping you to do advocacy. They're helping your office to do more advocacy because you guys want a lot of us to know the dangers of cancer. You want us to know it's breast cancer month, and people should be aware where should they go for screening and everything. So if they have to register with you, do you think that is going to reduce the level of awareness programs they're going to do? Because a lot of people don't want accountability because people don't want you to be digging into what their organizations are doing. So don't you think that will cause some little problems and just slow down the level of awareness campaign that has been going on?
Well, we will applaud what they are doing. But like I said, cancer is not football.
Yeah.
So even if you do awareness, it's important the message that you are giving people. Even when you are doing screening, we have to be sure the people who are doing those screens, how you are doing those screens, are they following the guidelines, the rules that are supposed to be followed? For example, there is ethical issue. You are not supposed to do screening if you cannot provide, for example, those who you happen to come across with something with treatment. So you cannot just go to Serekunda market, do screening there. If you come across something from somebody, and then what do you do? All those things are important.
Yeah.
In as much as the awareness they are doing, but it's important that they are sending the right message. Yes, that is very important.
Yeah. Dr. Sanya, let's look at breast cancer. We are celebrating Breast Cancer Month the entire October. Let's look at breast cancer itself. How would you describe and how do anybody check themselves to know what are the signs that are prevailing for them to say, I need to see a doctor or something is not right with me?
Thank you so much, Fatou, for having us, and then we say good evening to your viewers.
Yeah.
As you rightly mentioned, this month is Pink October, and we are trying to celebrate and do a lot of activities, raise awareness in terms of breast cancer, and then also do some activities to screen people for breast cancer.
Yeah.
So raising awareness for breast cancer is very paramount. It's not only limited to this month, but it is important that a month is, singled out and dedicated to raise more awareness with regards to breast cancer. And then coming back to your question, it is important for people to know that there are various risk factors which lead somebody to have a higher chance of getting breast cancer than other people. So we know it is commoner in the female sex compared to the male. And this is basically because of the hormones which are predominantly higher in the female compared to the male. And those leads to them having more breast tissues than the male. So that is one of the risk factors. The other risk factor would have to do with their menstrual cycle. If they see their menstrual cycle very early, then they have a lot of exposure to those hormones, estrogen, progesterone. And then if they also see their menstrual cycle up to a later age, that is before it ceases, menopause. So there is a long duration of exposure to those hormones. So they stand to have a risk. And those who probably, were inclined to have children very early and or did not the age at first pregnancy, if it is very late, and then also did not have like many children, and those who don't have a child at all, they also stand to have a risk of this, some degree of risk. And those breastfeeding is known to be protective, like because during the time of breastfeeding, they don't, some of them would not see their menses for a period of time, and that is protective, and that reduces the exposure they have to those hormones. The use of contraceptives, especially the pills, oral contraceptive pills, for a duration of time exposes them to risks. Yes, and then you have some other risk factors, obesity, and then exposure to radiation. And then last but not least also, you have some people who have genetic predispositions, so it runs in families. So if you have a family member, especially first degree relative, who have like a sister, mother, aunt who has breast cancer, then the likelihood of having breast cancer is higher compared to those who don't have it. So there is need, with regards to this, there is what we call average risks and those who have higher risks. Like if you have a first degree relative who has this. So those, the need for breast cancer awareness and then screening. So there is advocacy to let people know that there are certain signs and symptoms that when you have them, then you should be concerned. It doesn't mean that you have breast cancer, because you can have them and not have breast cancer. But it is a concern for you. When you have them, then you look for help. Let the clinicians see you and help determine, because it's a process. Like Kebba was saying, Dr. Bojang, that ethically you can't screen people and then you don't provide them with some form of therapy, because that psychologically is traumatic, and that you can even sentence them to, death, psychologically, because you eliminate them, you just disclose their status to them, and then abandon them like that. So there should be coordinated efforts towards and everything coordinated, and then put in the right perspectives, so that people would not be exploited, but rather helped in that manner. So the signs and symptoms could be a lump, which is one of the commonest things, and then majority mainly is a painless lump, and people need to be very aware of
painless lump.
Painless.
Okay.
Many a time it will not disturb you. You just feel that there is a lump.
So I always tell these people, because I've had so many programs, and people will say, it is a lump. You have a lump. And I got this in my head. There was this time I went home and I'm like, I think I have, because I was feeling, because I had that in my head, right? But a lot of us wouldn't know what kind of lump it is. How does it feel? What does it look like? You know, all of that. And the trauma, the reason why I stopped doing these kind of programs, especially cancer program, psychologically, it affected me personally. I did a program with Dr. Ramanjai and Yaus and all this. We talked about cancer-related issues. The entire month, I felt like I had it. I mentally, I felt like something was wrong with me. I kept feeling myself. I kept touching every part of my body just to feel it. I went to MRC. There isn't any test that I didn't do. From MRC to Westfield, I felt emotionally like depressed. Something was happening to me. And I can imagine how people that have it, how they feel now. The psychological support you're talking about, that's where it comes in. Because for me, just talking about the disease took me there. I spent 2 days doing tests, RVT, MRC, and then there was this test that they could not do. I had to go to Westfield. I don't know, I did over 10 different tests to check. Now, it's important for people to know, when you say a painless lump, how does it look like? Is it a because you know, a lot of us women, you know, when you feel yourself, there is something. Yes,
it's a normal one.
That is there.
Yes.
That is there. So if you tell me lump, if I feel that, I'm just gonna think that is it. But what kind of lump is it? How does it feel? It's important that we know those also.
So it is important to know that there is a way in how you touch your breast in order to determine whether what you are feeling is normal or not normal.
Okay.
So definitely, if you use your fingertips to hold your breast, you will feel a lump.
Yeah.
And that lump could be normal, because that's the normal breast tissue, especially for the female.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't use the fingertips to hold the breast, but you rather use the flat of your hand.
The flat of your hand.
Yes. Just from here to here.
Yeah.
Then and you touch it against the chest wall.
Okay.
And then you can feel whether what you are feeling is normal breast tissue, or there is something which is a little bit firm or hard.
Okay.
And then which is in a particular place that you are distinctively feeling different from the other sides. Yes, so that is important.
Okay.
And then you don't necessarily have to feel a very big lump to be concerned. You don't need to wait until it is big. And this is why most of the patients present in a late stage, because it wouldn't bother you. It might start from a small lump, and it wouldn't bother you because it won't pain.
Yeah.
It won't give you any discomfort. And then you go your normal business and this thing, and then you feel that if you catch it early, and then you feel that, oh, I feel a small lump there. It's not paining me, it's not this, so you wouldn't bother. But if it is a cancerous lump, then it will be growing slowly. By the time it bothers you, at that time it's at a fast stage, you know, it's an advanced stage, and that makes it difficult, you know, to treat. Yeah. So it is important that, like, when you feel a lump, and then it is important that you should seek for medical attention so that, like, you can be helped. That's one of the reasons. The other things could be a nipple discharge. You can have fluid coming from the nipple, and that could be bloody, it could be colorless, could be brownish, and sometimes it could be occlusive. But that doesn't mean all of them, you know, when you have it, it's breast cancer. No.
Okay.
You need to go and see a medical practitioner, and a medical practitioner will help to determine, because they will do investigations and then see whether it's really breast cancer. Because they range a whole lot of conditions that can cause nipple discharge, and they are not necessarily breast cancer. Yes, so you can have that. But also, equally, if you have changes in the skin of your breast, like you have some dimpling signs, like you have other, you know, orange peel appearance, they call it peau d'orange in French. So if you have such things, then it is important for you to see, because, like, you'll see the difference between this breast and the other breast. And then also, you can also have some form of ulceration on the breast, small ulcer. So once you have it, it is good to seek for medical attention, because sample can be taken from it and then sent and determine that whether it is. Sometimes, apart from the lump, you can have the whole breast swollen and, in a cake form, like the whole breast. You have a breast mass rather than a breast lump. So the whole breast is affected. And then, in that case, that's another type of breast cancer, which is the inflammatory type. And that you can have it, and sometimes it's very aggressive. It's not like the other ones where you have with a lump. And this one can be sometimes painful, it can be warm to touch, and then you see that it progresses very fast. Yeah. So if you see that, you should also seek for medical attention. So the screening bit that we advocate for in women is like you can do self-breast examination, and then the recommended time mostly after you have seen your menses, and when you are bathing, you can do that. When you finish bathing, you go to bed, lie down, incline. Even if you lie down straight or incline at 45 degrees, just put your head at the back of your hand at the back of your head, and then massage your other breast in a rotational manner. And then feel whether, don't use the tip of your fingers, always use the flat of the hand, and then palpate, make sure that so that is taught in the screening. And then also, you can also see, you can do a nipple discharge, to milk your breast and see whether there is any discharge coming. You can also feel, the axilla, the armpit, and see whether there is any there, you can feel anything. Those things help you if you do it monthly, and then it helps you to pick the disease, because commonly we don't normally do the screening mammography here in the Gambia like in other countries, because you have to look for the advantages and disadvantages of doing screening mammography. It's very expensive, and whether all people can afford it. So you have to look at the cost effectivity of it, whether it's cost effective to do those screening. And then, after, when you have a lot of people, the treatment, follow-up, and all those things are considered. So you do this. And so by doing some self-breast examination and looking for medical attention from health practitioners, it can help us in early diagnosis. So once diagnosis is made, then it can help in improving the outcome of treatment. And that is one of the things why we are advocating for it.
It's important. Early diagnosis is important. Toma, he's talked about how we can trace, how we can look at ourselves back home and check. Now, you guys, you work at the National Cancer Control Program. What are the resources available for people that have cancer in this country? I'm sure you guys have the statistics. I'll come to Kebba about that also. But for example, what kind of resources is available for people that have cancer in the Gambia?
Thank you, Toma, for that question. I must first comment your outfit yes, recognizing our Pink October.
Of course.
Yes, this is the month of pink. Yeah. I should have also been
but you are sitting on the pink couch.
Yes, the couch is fine. Thank you for providing the pink couch.
That's good.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a good question. The resources that we have as a National Cancer Control Program, you've just mentioned that you've been working with some of these groups, YAOS and Cancer League, Ajikumba Dafe, and the others. Yes, that's true. These groups have been existing before the existence of this cancer control program. Yeah. Even myself, I've worked with the Cancer League around 2019 at the Arch. Yes. We organized 3 days. They organized a 3-day program, and we were there. Yeah. We did some screening, and the turnout was good. We did a lot of screening, which was really commendable. And other groups were also doing a lot. The Ministry of Health, for example, the government of the Gambia, they deem it necessary because cancer is killing a lot of Gambians. Yeah. And the only time people get to know about it is when their relatives are affected or when they themselves are affected, which is very sad.
Yeah.
So our office, the National Cancer Control Program, we want to change the narrative. So since we came into existence, just to come about talk about the resources, we realized that there was no strategic plan in the Gambia regarding cancer, despite that it's killing people. So this is what we first endeavored to get, because without a strategic plan there will be no coordination. Yes, we realize that people are doing a lot in the Gambia, but everybody is working in silos. So we decided to embark on a countrywide tour. That is our office. We assess the whole nation about the cancer level, of the in the Gambia. We went to various facilities in the Gambia to assess whatever they were doing. We also reached out to CSOs, NGOs, and other organizations just to know whatever is on the ground, so that we can really know how to address the cancer problem in the Gambia. After developing the strategic plan, we also developed the breast cancer guideline, the cervical cancer guideline, and the prostate cancer. Yes, we have other cancers too, like the liver cancer is a burden in the Gambia, but we feel that these are the cancers that you can screen people and catch them early. Cancers like liver cancer sometimes is very difficult to detect, but these are the other these three cancers that I mentioned. These are the cancers that you can easily screen and catch them early, then you treat, because cancer can be treated depending on the stage that it is being diagnosed. If it is diagnosed early, we can treat it, but if it is not diagnosed early, we cannot treat it. So still talking about the resources that are available, we as the National Cancer Control Program, we are the head, like he mentioned, Dr. Bojang. We are the overall head. We are coordinating, monitoring, and also working collaboratively with health facilities, hospitals, other institutions that are into cancer. Okay, the resources that are available in the Gambia, from prevention, we have resources. We are screening. Yes, there are resources that we are using to screen, like when it comes to cervical cancer, for example, we screen and treat. We have a HPV machine at EFSTH. It can do the genotyping. Whenever you screen, you can notice, you will be able to know whether the individual has HPV 16 and 18, which are the cancers that are most likely connected to cervical cancer, HPV 16 and 18. You can do other genotypes to show that this person is high risk. We have the resources there. We can screen, and we have the thermal ablation. We treat you within 1 minute, then you go, depending on the stage, like I mentioned earlier. Okay, we have other investigations that we do at the hospital, like pap smear and mammogram for breast cancer also. We are doing all those things.
We have mammogram at EFSTH?
Yes, we have mammogram at EFSTH. So we are doing all those things. We are doing ultrasound scanning. We are also doing what else? Biopsies.
So there was a time we didn't have it, some years back when I did the program.
Yes, but now it's available. Now we can diagnose cancer, and we can even treat depending on the level. Like he rightly mentioned, if you stay at home or if you don't notice it, when you come with full-blown cancer, sometimes it's difficult. But we have all these things. And we are also, there are plans on the way to also have an oncology center at Farato. Right now, we are working with IEA to train some personnel in the Gambia, because we first of all want to build capacities first. Before you build an oncology center, you need to build the capacity of individuals that are supposed to work there. This is what we are trying to do currently. We are doing it slowly, but surely we will be there. But when it comes to screening, we are doing screening for breast, cervical, and even prostate. We are doing it. Even liver cancer, when we have a liver clinic also. Dr. Bite is running it. So we are doing a lot with cancer when it comes to prevention, treatment, and even chemotherapy also. We are doing some, although it's not readily available, but we are providing it whenever we have the chemo. We provide the chemotherapy, and we are seeing patients, and of course they are managing patients at the hospital, and some have even recovered, depending on the stage that they were seen at the hospital. So basically we have this, like I mentioned, the guidelines are already available. We have plans to organize a step-down training across the regions to train all the health workers on the breast cancer, cervical cancer, and the HPV guidelines. Yes, because we want everybody to work in the same direction. We don't want people to work in silos like you mentioned. They were doing things. We really commend them for that. But now that we are here, our existence, yes, we want everybody to come on board. We are all fighting the same cancer. We are not here to we are not a threat or anything. We just want a coordinated efforts. We just want coordination, yes. We want everything to be together.
That's interesting. I'm amazed that, you know, all these resources are available, because to be honest, I didn't know that. I thought we had mammogram at private clinics, not the AFST. So that is very important. Some of these resources are very important for early detection, so that people can, you know, because I travel all the way outside to go do my mammogram.
Wow.
Yes, so I didn't know. Yeah. Like, I'm supposed to travel currently to just go do my yearly mammogram. So I know a lot of people also do that. They don't know, because these things are very important. So I'm amazed that that resource is available for women to be able to go and check themselves. And I think it's important we have these kind of programs so people know what resources are available. Dr. Bojang, let's look at what the rate of cancer in the Gambia, and what are the most prevalent ones that we have in this country.
Yeah, so before I come to that, like you described the symptoms that you were having and you thought that you had cancer. So I think maybe that's a condition called Munchausen syndrome.
What?
Munchausen. It's more of psychological.
Psychological, yes.
So usually, you know, I have friends, even if they cough, for example, so usually what we call mind over matter. You use your mind.
I have this friend, whenever he's sick, he's watching right now, he say, I have COVID. I tell him, I don't know how many times you have COVID in a month, but even if he has a body pain, he says, I have COVID. Yes. So that is there, yes.
So sometimes when you have some of these feelings, mind over matter, use your mind, you are like, no, I don't have COVID, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to say before answering your question, earlier in the day, we were at the medical school conference hall. Yeah. So what we were actually celebrating or observing there is the Liver Cancer Awareness Month.
Okay.
So when I was given my statement, one of the things I said, I wonder how many of us knew this month too is Liver Cancer Awareness Month.
No.
But I was sure almost everyone in that room
didn't know.
No, yeah, they did not know, but they know that this is Breast Cancer Month.
Yes.
So it is important also we commemorate liver cancer. Now, when you look at Gambia, now the most common cancer is cervical cancer.
Cervical.
Which affects women.
Yeah.
Seconded by liver. But more people are dying from liver cancer than cervical cancer. So we were there with Professor Ramunda, as you mentioned the name. So it is important that we remember that. So, and when it comes to men, most of the men in the country actually suffer from liver cancer. I was looking at the statistics. So, for example, 2020, the latest figures on cancer in the Gambia. When it comes to men, about 43% of them actually suffer from liver cancer. The second one, which is the lung, was around 9 point something. So when you look at the gap, it's big. So liver cancer is also very important. So like you say, when it comes to cancer, the most prevalent cancers, like I say, first from the latest records, first is cervical cancer.
Cervical.
Yeah, for the general population. Then the second is liver. And then the third is breast cancer.
Breast cancer. Okay.
And then the other one is lung and then the prostate cancer.
Yeah.
But when it comes to men, like I said, the most common cancer is liver cancer.
Liver cancer.
Followed by lung and then prostate. Then when it comes to women, the commonest cancer is actually cervical cancer. Then breast cancer. And then liver cancer. So it is important we don't also forget liver cancer.
Liver cancer.
Yes. Breast cancer month, it is important, like Dr. Sanya actually explained. So one of the most important things why we do breast cancer awareness is for people to know, to be given information what breast cancer some of the features that he explained, so that early diagnosis is very important. So when you look at the commonest cancers in the Gambia, cervical cancer, liver cancer, and then the breast. So the first two, there is a screening method That is screening for you to be able to catch them before they even start. But so unfortunately, well, for liver we don't have screening. So the reason, what we say, the best way you treat cancer is to prevent it. So when you look at the cancer control spectrum, how we take care of the cancer, we start from prevention, screening, early detection, treatment, and palliation. So in breast cancer screening, essentially what they are doing is to try to catch it early if you have, because usually culturally people think that cancer is a killer disease. Of course, when people have cancer, they do die.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that everyone who has cancer will die.
Yeah.
And doesn't mean that cancer, once you have, is not cured. There are some cancers when you have, it can be cured.
Yeah.
So the most important thing is the time when you catch. So that was early detection. That's why we are doing the screening. So that is important for people to be aware of that. Of course, logically you may think that nobody should actually come down or die from breast cancer compared to cervical cancer, because breast is out here. It's easy. It's not hidden somewhere. But I think sometimes the challenge people are, like Dr. Sanyan said, sometimes the lump you have is painless, and then we don't take it seriously. So sometimes by the time they present, is late. And a number of people, young people actually, educated ones, sometimes you think that, oh, maybe it's the people in the villages who will sit until, they come down with breast cancer. It doesn't actually happen like that. That's why awareness is important. Now, to talk about numbers, for example, the latest figures we have, that is from Global Can, it's an international group. So like 2022 was the last figure. So what they reported was like in 2022.
2022?
Yeah, there was 1,196 new cases of cancer.
New cases?
Yes. So what I'll say is you need to take a minute to think about it, 1,196. So a number of people, or many people think that cancer is disease for the West, for the Western countries. But no, we say 899, even though they are estimates. So cancer is rising, of course, and it's a very important disease that we need to pay attention to. Because when you present lead, which actually is happening in most of our cases, usually the prognosis is not good.
Okay. So how do we prevent? What are some of the preventive measures that we need to do? Because they say prevention is better than cure. How do we prevent some of these cases?
Yeah. So maybe Sanyan can talk about that. But like I said, the best way to treat cancer is to prevent it. Of course, there are risk factors. Risk factors, these are the things that predispose you. They'll make you more likely to come down with cancer much more than, for example, when you smoke cigarette. So you are much more likely to come with, let's say, lung cancer, like me, who actually don't smoke. So when we take care of the risk factors, about 30% of cancers can actually be prevented. So it depends on which type of cancer you are talking about. So some of the risk factors generally for cancer are obesity, lack of exercise, not eating,
not eating right. And
eating right. Some of those ones actually. But then, for example, when it comes to the most common cancer in the Gambia, cervical cancer, so what predispose people to that is HPV, human papilloma virus. When it comes to liver cancer, majority is hepatitis. So, but now, luckily, when it comes to cervical cancer, there are vaccinations that are actually given to prevent that. And then when it comes to liver cancer, there are hepatitis B vaccination that actually is part of our routine vaccination. So breast cancer, I don't know, beyond this general, you have to control your weight, you exercise, eat. I don't know what are some of the risk factors that are there. Maybe you can dilate.
Some of them,
Yes, but when you, so let's go like this. You start with prevention. When you can't prevent it, we want to catch it early. How do you catch it early? Is by screening. So screening actually happens in at-risk populations. When it comes to prevention, is the general population, everybody. But when we do screening, at-risk population, for example, when it comes to breast cancer, women are the ones who are more at risk. It doesn't mean that men don't have breast cancer.
But women are more at risk.
So when you are doing screening for breast, you go to those who are at risk. But now when it comes to early diagnosis, these are people actually who are, so from screening, you can have early diagnosis. But early diagnosis essentially will be those who come with symptoms. For example, if you come with breast lump, for example, we want to make sure that you examine to make sure that if it is cancer, you catch it early. But when you catch it early, it can be cured, actually. So there are certain cancers which actually are curable once they are caught early. Yes.
Now, Dr. Sanyang, for example, she talks about resources that is available in country. Some of them I didn't know, but it's good that we know that that is available here. He talked about prevention, early detection, and then treatment. Now, there are sometimes you see people who do their yearly mammogram, but they still have cancer. It's not detected, right? Breast cancer. Sometimes I've seen somebody who has done her yearly mammogram and she still was diagnosed. But also some people, like you said, it's genetic, right? It's from their family, but history, and some other cancers like the cervical cancer and others. How, for example, somebody who has genetic, what should they do? Because normally most of us, our people die in Gambia, we don't know the causes of death. Sometimes we know, but sometimes we don't know. So we wouldn't know that this person died of cancer. Like that is our thing, because we say we don't know what happened, and most of the time we don't know what the cause of death is. So most of us wouldn't know if we have family members who have cancer, and we don't see the need to go. What do we need to do? Is it something that we should be checking time to time to see if we have any cancer? How do you do any of those to see if I have cervical cancer, if I have liver cancer, if I have breast or anything? How do you do that now, even though you don't feel anything? Do you still need to go and check?
Yes, so that's a very important question. Definitely, their screening has various components and then the indications for. So in many cancers, there would, for example, there's an age requirement where you have some screening to be done depending on what type of screening to be done. Like for those who are seeing their menses, we are saying, for example, self-breast examination and then going to. So you will not expect a child who has not started seeing menses to do that.
Yeah.
Yes. And obviously, like for those who have not attained certain age, if you are going to do, apart from the self-breast examination and the clinical breast examination that the health practitioner will do, sometimes because of the density of your breast, and if you need to do any radiological imaging, probably will do ultrasound scan.
Yeah.
Yes. But if you go to the age of 40, 35, then you will do mammogram because by that time your tissue density is reduced. So mammogram can pick lesions, suspicious lesions well compared to when your breast is very much dense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a particular age in which will visit. Yes, it's true, and then this is not limited to only within our sub-region. By interaction, I have seen a survivor. That was when we were doing, breast cancer awareness activities in Ghana. She was in the United States, and she was doing series of tests for screening, and it took her 2 years before they detect that she has breast cancer. Yeah. So it can happen, just to support your point that sometimes it can happen. Yeah, so sometimes you become suspicious of the reason. That's why sometimes for you to do screening, there must be, you look at the pros and the cons, population screening for that matter. When I say screening, it's not like this that we do and people who come and this. But for you to do population screening, you look at the cost and the effectiveness of it, and then all that is a holistic approach to it. before you venture into it. And then the positive outcome, how you'll handle it, the treatment and everything. That package is a whole package that you look into before you now go into population screening. So, but you do this screening, and that's why, like you were saying, those who are 40 and above can do mammogram and then screen. But it's not limited only to mammogram. Sometimes you go further and do MRI. MRI also is one of the things where a suspicious lesion is there and they cannot, there are other forms of investigations that can be done, like MRI of the breast that can close on. And then the hospital also has MRI. And then there are other forms of screening that can be done, radiological investigation using isotopes. Unfortunately, like he's saying, we are yet to have an oncology center to be able to do those ones. Yeah. Yes, but the thing is, coming back to your question, there are some people, if you have breast cancer, a first degree relative, then it is important that you go and do screening. And then somebody who has a first degree relative who has breast cancer, instead of your screening starting at the age 40, like the average rates, of course, the age limit has been reduced in other guidelines to 35 for mammogram. But it is recommended that, like, if you have a first degree relative, then if the screening is 40, then you will do it at age 35. At age 35, you will do it, okay? And then if you have a relative who died, for example, of breast cancer, a first degree relative, then your screening in time can be done 10 years earlier than the age at which that patient died of cancer, breast cancer, for example. So it is important that you do this. And unfortunately, our people, like if you are sick and somebody died of something, they don't go to the extent of asking what is the cost of death. Now, knowing the cost of death would help you determine in your family history or past medical history for that person or the family, would help you give much information to the health practitioner who will also know how best they can help and guide you and advise you. Yeah.
Now let's talk about treatment. He said, according to reports, in 2022, there have been over 1,000 new cases of cancer-related cases in the Gambia. I mean, of course, there should be numbers for 2023 and 2024. What kind of treatment do we have that is available in the Gambia? And what kind of cancers are we treating here in the Gambia?
Yeah, so most of these common cancers we have in the Gambia are treated. In fact, the major cancers that we have, like he has identified, cervical cancer, liver cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, they are all having some form of treatment in the Gambia. Now, the challenge is that we face is most of the people present very late. And when they present late, I mean, these are international guidelines for staging of the cancers. So that's why they are classified as early cancer or late. So if you present, and if it is classified as late cancer, the outcome is not good. It doesn't matter wherever you go in this world. The outcome is not as good as in the early cancers. So early cancers, like he said, if you catch it early, you can cure the person. You understand? The survival rate is very high. Okay? But because our people present late, that's why the survival rate of our cancers in the sub-region, especially in the Gambia, it has one of the poorest survival rate in the sub-region. Because most of our people present at the late stage. I can tell you that anecdotally, some of the cancers that we see by staging is stage 3 and stage 4. And that's the advanced form of breast cancer. Now, people have this notion that, for example, breast cancer, if I go to the hospital, they will cut my breast. And then that deters them from not going to the hospital. So if you don't go to the hospital and eventually it happens to be fulminant in such a state that like it cannot, people should have the understanding that cancer cannot be treated, you know, traditionally. You understand?
Yeah.
By using these traditional means and these things, herbs and this, you cannot treat it using that. Because at the end of the day, they just delay the time that you will need to present at the health facilities. And eventually, when it is out of hand, they cannot manage you. Because at that time, it will be overwhelming. You need some other gadgets to support you. You understand? So that you'll be able to breathe. You need oxygen. You need some analgesics, pain. You understand? To relieve your pain. You need tranquilizers so that you will be able to sleep. And those ones cannot be given by this thing. Even you will be air hunger. You will be anemic.
Yeah.
Your blood will be very low. Those people at the traditional side, they cannot add blood to your system.
Yeah.
So you need to go to the hospital. They cannot give you oxygen. You need to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And you present to the hospital late, and you want, you know, health practitioners to perform miracle.
Yeah.
It's very challenging.
It's challenging.
So, but if you present early, then it can be picked up.
Yeah.
When it is picked up and diagnosed very early, nobody is going to cut your breast.
Yeah.
Because there are various modalities of treatment for cancer. For example, breast cancer.
Yeah.
And those modalities are available. Not all are available in the Gambia. In terms of radiotherapy, they mentioned that the oncology center that you know, is in the pipeline, you understand, for establishment. That will help. Once we have it, we will have a radiotherapy, you know, center. We'll have that treatment. But the mainstay for treatment of breast cancer is surgical, and this is international standard. Surgical is the mainstay of treatment. So if you can have surgery done, if you present early, and you have the means to go outside, your breast will not be cut. Okay. It is only the lump and some rim of normal tissue around the lump which will going to be removed once it is confirmed that it is breast cancer. And chemotherapy, like she said, we are instituting chemotherapy to our patients. The challenge sometimes we have is sometimes we run out of drugs.
Yeah, go ahead.
We run out of drugs, and then we are not able to provide all the drugs. When that happens, we have to write some of the drugs and you get them somewhere else, and then we this. Because chemotherapy is a combination therapy. It's not monotherapy like we give you only paracetamol. But it's a combination of drugs that we give you, and you get it in cycles. We give you on this day, and you have to wait for 3 weeks or so before you receive another cycle. And that is done purposely because, like chemotherapy, these are cytotoxic drugs. And when we say cytotoxic drugs, they are drugs that kills the cells. Yes, so it kills both the malignant cells, and then it also affects the normal cells. The normal cells are also cells. So, but because it affects the malignant cells more, it causes more damage. It kills the malignant cells more than the normal cells. So when you give them, it kills the malignant cells more. So you give time to the normal cells to recover. By the time you give them time for a duration of 3 weeks and give the chemotherapy again, it affects the malignant cells which grow at a faster rate more. And then by that time, the normal cells have recovered. So we give chemotherapy, and that we monitor our patients, do all the labs, and give them the various combinations of chemotherapy. One of the challenges we have is like the chemotherapeutic drugs have line, a first line, second line. At least we have the first line of chemotherapy that we give, and then we are able. So if you respond responding the first line of chemotherapy, obviously we can write for you to get the second line of chemotherapy, or we refer you to go somewhere where you can get the disease. So we can do the surgery, breast conserving surgery, and then that is removing the lump and disease. And then you receive chemotherapy. Then you can go out to do radiotherapy, either in Senegal, Ghana, or anywhere. You can do the disease. But most of the disease, and hormonal therapy we can give in the Gambia, so which is another component of the treatment. So basically, a lot of the
care is provided, is available in the country.
In liver cancer also as well, there are drugs for liver cancer, and then there are tests that can be done, you know, to look at like those who have the liver cancer, and then look at the stage at which it is. You know, for cervical cancer, they have informed you that can do the screening, human papillomavirus screening, and then you can look at this cervix and see whether there is any lesion in the cervix, and then you can treat. So all those are available. And then when it comes to the state of local treatment, you can treat there and then, which is less invasive. And but if it goes, it is given stage, it goes to a stage where the patient needs surgical intervention, can be operated. And then all forms of operations are available here. For breast, for cervical, they are available. The only thing is like when it comes to radiotherapy, those ones we listen. And we give you a professional advice. We don't just say that, oh, you are in the Gambia, so we will just do this thing. No, our treatment are standard. We are health professionals, and we go by this standard treatment guidelines, like international. So we treat you like how if you go to the US or UK or anywhere, they will treat you. What the treatment we are giving is standard. If we are limited by the drugs, we'll tell you these are the drugs you have. First line drugs we have, we are treating you. If you need second line drugs, we don't have it. You want to go outside, we'll test. If you want us to write for you, we can write, we get the treatment here. If you need radiotherapy, obviously, we wouldn't wait. You wouldn't tell us. We are the ones who will advise you that your treatment will involve A, B, C. And we can do A here, but B and C, you have to do it elsewhere. So people need to come. They don't need to say that like, yes, I have to go to somewhere. And Gambians have this notion that like, anything Gambian is inferior. And sometimes we lose patients because of that. I mean, like, one of the common problems, health challenges we have here is diabetic. And we have patients with diabetic food. You come here and then they present very late, go to all these traditional herbalists, and come when the food is already there. Then you cancel them for amputation, and they feel that they can go elsewhere for those people to do miracles. And that it does not obtain there. And then sometimes where we even cancel them for amputation at a lower level, they go elsewhere and they do amputation at a higher level. And sometimes the outcome is not good. We tend to lose those people. And then they come back as a distance. So we have to, you know, have some form of trust in what we have, and then present very early for advice.
That is very important. I think what he said basically is, how do we go to the health facilities as soon as possible? How do we make sure we catch it early in case we have it? And how do we do that? How do we know all of this is the level of advocacy we do? And that comes to your office. You coordinate and manage all of that. Now, what is the level of advocacy, apart from just the breast cancer month or the liver cancer month that you celebrate? What is the level of advocacy? Because my grandmother in Badibu should know, you know, that when stuff like this happens to her, she needs to rush to the nearest health facility. What is the level of advocacy that you guys do at your office, Fatou?
Yes, thank you, Fatou. Like I mentioned, we develop our strategic plan, and the strategic plan has 7 objectives, and all 7 years objectives. So each objective has a whole component, a whole chapter. One of the component, everything is all about awareness. We haven't started yet as per the strategic plan, but we've been doing something. As our office, like our belief or what we really always advocate for is not only to do the advocacy in this month. The awareness should not only be limited to October. We want to do it all year round. Because this October, so many activities are going on, we are collaborating, doesn't mean that we are stopping here.
Yeah.
In fact, in February, we are planning a very big one. That one, we want to go nationwide. Yes, we want to do a whole 1 week awareness program, because this one is for breast cancer, but February is for World Cancer Day. And many people, they don't know about this World Cancer. The focus is on Pink October. Many people know about Pink October.
Yeah.
So we are planning that one, and it's going to be a big one, a big advocacy program. Apart from that, if most of the time, like early, I think it was last year or early this year, we were at the QTV, myself and Dr. Hadiba. We did some health talk about the programs, especially about cervical cancer, that we are doing the screening, and we sensitize people about that. We also did our press release, like I and Dr. both mentioned. That one is all part of the advocacy to talk about what cancer is all about and what we are doing so far. So we have a whole lot of agenda, activities on advocacy. Very soon, I know most Gambians will hear about cancer, not only cervical or breast, but every cancer. That is our aim. We want every Gambian to know about cancer, not to sit at home until you are affected or your friend or your neighbor. We want everybody to know, like you rightly mentioned here, you don't know that most of these services are available, but thank God today you know about them, And I hope the ones listening also will try to spread the message and tell the others that all these services are available at EFSTH. Just to add on what the two doctors were saying on breast screening. I'm a lady, so I don't be fair for me to walk out this platform without talking about self-breast examination. A good number of our patients at the hospital that comes very early detected themselves, the lump. Yes, that is a good thing. Yes, because of this self-breast examination, so many people are, they don't even have cancer because of that. It's very easy. Once you're at home, after your menstrual flow, the 5th day, mostly 5th to the 7th day, you can just do it at the shower, or even when you are lying down, like he rightly mentioned, or if you have a mirror in your house, just stand in front of the mirror, you put your hand, place your hands like this, then you do it. You just do it round. You go around like 360 degrees, just right around the breast. You massage it very gently. Just use this, the hand from here to here, the fingers. Yes, you just massage it. We palpate it. We call it palpation. But in our, like people who doesn't understand palpation, just massage it. Yes, to feel. And the secret about breast cancer is, it's important for us to know our body. Yes, women, you rightly mentioned, we all have this normal lump. Yes, so if you are growing up, you as a child, and from puberty and all whatnot, you know that you have a lump. So sometimes you don't seem to bother. And the lump, the lump also, mostly for cancer also, is painless. The very early stage is painless, and it can be as small as the grain of a rice. Then it will start growing, and it can grow very fast. Like you rightly mentioned, they multiply very fast. So you can palpate it this month, even next month. If you come, you will see that you realize that I've noticed something in my brain. This is not normal. This is very hard and it's very tiny. It has not been here. Or if you palpate your arm under the armpit, you realize that there is a lump. And you don't have any pain anywhere, because on a normal circumstance, you should have pain somewhere to have those kind of lump in your body. But if you don't have any pain and you do your palpation, you don't even feel anything, but you saw a lump, just quickly rush to the hospital and talk to the doctor and tell them, okay, look, I was advised to do this, and whilst doing it, I realized that I have this, I noticed that I have this, I'm now worried. Can you help me? Like I mentioned in one of my platforms, we have different health facilities in the Gambia. And sometimes, like what Dr. Usman Sanyang said, people always look low upon our health facilities. Yes, different people have different attitudes. That is everywhere. You can even have your kids, and they have habits that you don't like, different from you. That happens every time. If you go to a health facility and they treated you otherwise, don't feel bad, maybe you can even take your case, report to the next level. If you don't have the opportunity to report, don't go home and say, for me, I'm not going back to the hospital again because I was treated very badly by Fatou Toure or Fatmata Jaite. No, go to Dr. Ousmane Sanyang. Talk to Dr. Kebba Bojang. We have different doctors around. Just take up your case. It's your health. That person who treated you badly, they don't care. They just did that and they don't even remember you anymore. Until if you file a case and come to them, that's the time they'll say, oh, it's true. So let us take our health very seriously and also understand our body. We should understand our body very well. If there is a slight changes in our body, we just take it to the next level. We should not wait until it is late. That is what I wanted to add on the cancer, yes. But for the advocacy, that one very soon, we have a lot of advocacy activities in the pipeline. Yes.
You said something that's very important, having faith in our health sector. I think sometimes it's our experience, different experiences. But I always say, for me, my go-to place is the RVTH because, private clinics, RVTH. I see that. I don't like hospitals. I don't like going to the hospitals. I'm a very I'll treat myself home a lot. But when I go to the RVTH because my grandmother especially will tell that's where she wants to go to. And most of the time when things are tough in these private clinics, that's why they take you. If they cannot manage these cases, they take you to the RVTH. That says a lot. I'm paying you more, but now if you're not able to manage me, you take me to RVTH. That tells me a lot as to what I need to understand. And I had different experiences with the RVTH. My mom was diagnosed with kidney. She went through dialysis and all the stuff. She spent a lot of time at the RVTH. It was a good experience. I think for us, it was more of before we knew we were going to the private clinics, like for years, it was not detected. It was when we went to MRC, just one simple test, it was detected, but it was very late, very, very late. It was, nothing can be done. It's just management until we lost her. So, but my experience with RVTH was very good. And other time I had terrible experiences with somebody that I took there. But when it comes to diabetes, you said something. I remember my grandmother had some diabetes. We didn't detect she had this wound in her feet for years, 3 years. Every time we take her to the private clinic, they were giving her some medication. No, we tested even diabetes. They said it was not diabetes. One simple test, after some years, we detected it was that. I took her to a private clinic and somebody said, take her to Dakar. And they said, no, we can treat it. It was a really bad wound. Today I can say they have treated it in Gambia. Very bad wound, very bad. So yes, sometimes, we have to also have faith in the system and work with doctors and see what they're doing, especially when you don't have option. You have to trust what you have. So I think that is also important, also to have faith. But like you said, sometimes the experiences are very bad. And I think that is what discourages people. Sometimes I hope both sides, the health facilities or the professionals, can also look at people when they come and understand that we are coming because we need the services. But my experience in most of these cases, especially both my mom and my grandparents, my grandma has been good experiences, but sometimes I had some other experiences. But I know you guys have an activity that is coming up on the 20-something.
Yes.
Can you talk about that before we go? I know we are running out of time.
Yes, okay, thank you. That is on the 26th. We are having a breast cancer screening and cervical cancer screening at Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital at the Gynec Clinic. It's free. We'll be having different experts. Dr. Ousmane Sanyang will be there, Dr. Jaite, Dr. Kebba Bojang, and other senior doctors will be there. And also midwives who are very qualified and they can do the work very well. We have radiologists also. We'll be having them on the ground. So we're urging everyone to come because it's free and it is a one-stop center.
Okay.
They will screen you, they will treat you, and you have everything available for free.
Okay.
Mammogram will be there, scanning will be there, and everything will be there.
Okay.
So we'll be taken care of, and everything is for free. You will see everybody at once, which is very difficult.
That's a great opportunity.
It's a great opportunity because if you go to the hospital, mostly Dr. Sanyang can be in the theater for 8 hours long surgery.
It's difficult to see specialists.
Exactly, specialists, but that day you see different specialists.
Okay.
So, which is a bonus for every Gambian, and I urge all the Gambian women to please make it a date and come.
What date is it?
On the 26th and 27th.
At the RVTH?
At EFSTH. But on the 26th again, we have another one at Bansang Hospital. That is with C3G and our office also, National Cancer Control Program. That one is only breast cancer screening. So for those that are in the rural areas, they can make very good use of that service because we still have experts in that area also. Dr. Jha will be there and other senior doctors will be there too, and midwives to do this screening, and it's also for free. So please, women, Gambian women and men also, men, please encourage your wives to go. And women also try to mark it a date and go. It's for your own good and it's free of charge.
Free of charge.
Yes.
26 at EFSTH, 26, 27, and also in Bansang.
Yes.
It's important that people know this is very important. I always say, check yourself. You know, prevention is better than cure. Go there, make sure you check. I am that person. I don't go quickly, but when I go, I want to check everything. It's important because if the service is available, take advantage of it, especially it is free. Thank you very much. Dr. Kebba, we are running out of time. What's your message, especially to people who will normally sit home and don't go consult to check their status? What is your final message to those people?
The final message will be our motto at our office. Cancer is time. A delay is the next stage compounded. So that's why you don't have to sit until it's late. Like he said, they present late. Remember that cancer is time. We catch it early, you can be cured, you can be treated well. So nobody should sit home until it's too late.
It's too late. Yes. Doctor, what is your final message?
So early detection saves lives, and we should all care and share so that we can overcome the menace of cancer. And to say that like this activity, since it is being rendered free, we have to try to raise funds in order to provide all these services. So we are also requesting for, the benevolence of, Gambians, institutions that we have reached out to see how best they can help in raising funds so that we can provide all these services with the investigation. The cost of mammogram. The cost of mammogram, especially doing it in Senegal, outside, or
it's expensive.
It's very expensive. So those who have indication for it, we are going to provide it free of charge. And the biopsies that we are going to take and then run in the lab is also going to be free of charge. And mark you, after all this process, all the people who have some lesions detected are going to be followed up, and they will have the treatment, all the treatment they require. Of course, follow-up of treatment and this thing, that will require, the very day activities would be free, but subsequently, those who will require treatment, additional treatment, although we know EFSTH always the charges are very minimal compared to other institutions, but those ones would be managed and treated well in EFSTH.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Doctor, and Dr. Sanyang, Dr. Bojang, and Toma. Thank you so much for coming. Interesting. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we use this month to reflect on and celebrate the people that have fought this this disease, but also to create awareness so that people understand what they need to do, how they need to do it, where they should go when they think they're feeling a certain way. And I think it's important that we know about this, about breast cancer, but all other cancers that we have. Especially, doctor has told us that in fact breast cancer is not the highest. It's not the highest that we have in this country. We have other forms. We have the cervical and the liver. They are also very much prevalent in this country. People should make sure they try for early detection. If they are able to detect it early, that could help in the treatment, and I think that is very important. And I want to thank the Cancer Control Program. I think one thing they have said here is coordination. It's important. You know, when you talk about disease like cancer, you need to have a coordination, because I cannot speak about cancer. Just because you have gone through it doesn't give you all the authority to be able to talk about all the facts. So sometimes, like you said, if you screen somebody and this person happens to have cancer, how do you console them? How do you counsel them as to what is the next step? These are life-threatening diseases, and people will just get worried. I know what I went through when I thought I had a cancer program here. In my head, I thought I had cancer. Every other thing that they said here, I was feeling in my body. So they are, you know, I remember when I even did, this was way back, I did the HIV test at the RVT age. You were supposed to come back, I think 2 days after. I have not eaten the entire days. I have not eaten, I have not slept, because I'm like, what is going to happen? So these are things that are very serious issues people deal with. So you just don't want to be the one to tell them those news. It should be professionals. That is why it's important that there's coordination from your office, that people that are dealing in these programs have the knowledge and the resources to be able to counsel people in case they are screened and are found to be having this disease. Thank you very much. We will also be welcoming you guys most frequently to have these programs. I think it's important. Nobody, we all have family members who are in one way or the other going through stuff like this. They want to hear from you. A lot of people are telling me we should have done this program in the local language, but next time we will do. I think it's important we talk to everybody who is across the country, because these programs, people watch it across the country. So not just speaking to English-speaking people, but every other person. That way they understand. But we commend you for the work that you're doing. Hopefully, we'll be able to cover your event, and then people will see what you have been able to do. Thank you very much. And to the entire team and those watching, good night to you all. See you again next week. Bye-bye. Thank you.
We are happy to announce the launch of our new logo. We have evolved since our incorporation in 1997, and it is time to refresh our new look to reflect who we are today. Before I reveal our new look, however, walk with me while I take you through our journey of the last 25 years. Trust Bank was incorporated on July 3rd, 1997 and began operations on October 1st, 1997. Following the collapse of the parent company of its predecessor, Meridian, the CBG stepped in and recapitalized the bank and held the shares in trust, thus the name Trust Bank. In 1999, the first investors who responded to the IPO and paid $1.50 per share received their maiden dividend of 50 bututs per share. In 2000, the bank fully paid back its investment by declaring another dividend of $1.20 bututs per share, making it a cumulative dividend per share of $1.70, which was 20 bututs above the purchase price. Between 2002 to date, share capital has increased from $27 million to $200 million, indicating that the bank has grown organically by plowing back profits to increase capital, while at the same time paying dividends to shareholders. The bank was listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange in November 2002, being the first ever cross-border listing in the sub-region. Now let's talk about awards. The bank was awarded the insignia of the National Order of the Republic of the Gambia, ORG, in the year 2010 by His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia. During the past years, the bank has received so many national and international awards. Banker Magazine, 6 times. Global Finance, 6 times. Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, 5 times. We began operations with 3 branches. Now we have 18 branches and 20 ATMs and counting. On digital services, mobile app, check. Online banking, check. Transaction alerts, check. Watch this space. We've got more coming. Creating employment, yes, we've got that too. 400 and counting. And we take great care of our people too. Medical insurance, life insurance, private and state pensions, annual pilgrimages for both Muslims and Christians, training, yes, we do them all. One team, one family, one goal. That's the Trust Bank spirit. On corporate social responsibility, we have spent over $50 million in various causes. We care, and so we share. Over the years, we have paid over $1.6 billion to our shareholders, which translates to a whopping $20 per share and counting. Phenomenal returns for our shareholders who purchased at $1.50. Corporate taxes, over $1 billion is paid. Our journey started with a vision to create the kind of company that delivers quality services and innovative products with an inspired team dedicated to serving our customers, our environment, and our communities at large in the most caring manner. We remain fully committed to delivering excellent services to each of our stakeholders, customers, employees, shareholders, and partners. So, we remain true to who we have always been. As we look forward to greater achievements, we are rebranding to reflect who we are today and the future that we inspire. Our new logo has been designed to visually demonstrate our Gambian heritage and the sophisticated nature of the bank. We are moving away from the navy and gold-colored parallelogram-shaped logo to our baobab tree with a rising sun in the background. The striking outline of a baobab tree at sunrise is a familiar sight to anyone who has spent time in the Gambia. Our new logo and visual identity are inspired by our core values and spirit of being a pioneer in providing a unique banking experience. It is a completely new look that better matches the transformation we have made as a company. But we remain your Trust Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor to present to you our new logo and corporate identity.